And a big welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RTA Virtual Motorsports here on Gantry TV. It's the Mustang America's Cup, sponsored by Motorsport.ie, and we are here for the fifth round of proceedings live from America's National Park of Speed. It is Road America, which is a fabulous circuit near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. My name is Evan Dalton. Behind the scenes, as always, is Ronan Hederman. And returning to Gantry TV, it is the fabulous Kieran McGinley. Kieran, it's great to have you back.
Thank you very much, Evan. It's great to be back, and yeah, here we are at Road America. I had to join back at a circuit that's got a letter in one of the corner numbers, didn't I? But still, it's fast, it's sweeping, a couple of 90-degree corners added here for our Mustangs, and yeah, should be a really good test for our drivers here to see who can come out on top, whether Oscar Mangan can really keep up his very consistent form so far.
Yes, Oscar has been fabulous so far this season. Oscar Mangan has 10 podiums already so far in this Motorsport.ie Mustang Cup, and he is leading the Drivers' Championship by a nice margin. And that's going to extend as well this evening, folks. There's no Jordan Kelly out on track in Road America, but this will become his drop round. So, of course, Oscar will have to have a drop round eventually at a later stage in the season. But Jordan will have tonight as his drop round, and you can see the standings up there on your screen now. But it's Oscar Mangan who leads ahead of Sean McGoldrick in second, and what a season Sean has been having so far in this Mustang. Jordan Kelly in third, Dylan McClements then in fourth, just a handful of points behind Jordan. Ronan Doherty then in fifth, with Sean McClements in sixth. Evan Walsh then in seventh, ahead of Peter McCann, Kevin Joyce and Jamal Gandor. But a clear lead for Oscar, Kieran, and I suppose he just has to keep up this consistency tonight.
Yeah, just keep doing what he's doing. Oscar's got some really good consistent form on him right now, and you know, he's only been out of the podium only a handful of times this season. I think his lowest finish so far this season has been 6th place, and that's only happened once. So he's got a really good bout of form underneath him. If he can carry that on for the rest of the season, he'll have wrapped this up in a nice little bow. Really good to see Jamal Gandor back up into the top 10. The Lebanese man really just putting in the good performances so far this season. And Dylan McClements has a chance to overtake Jordan Kelly in tonight's proceedings. Ronan Doherty, Sean McClements there in that really tight battle for 5th place so far in this as we sort of head our way to the halfway point of the season.
Yeah, it's very close throughout the grid, and of course we have the B Championship ongoing as well, although in all honesty there's not much of a change in the B Championship because I think we're missing all but one driver tonight, at least one or two, but it is still Stuart Brereton who's at the top of it, ahead of Rich Murphy, Grace McCallion, Gary Corcoran and Aaron Dalton in terms of that B Championship, but realistically that's still so close and could change in a heartbeat, so we'll need to keep an eye on the B Championship. Last week then we had the same 3 drivers on the podium in every round. It was Ronan Doherty, Jordan Kelly and Oscar Mangan who are on the podium in every race, but with no Jordan tonight. And looking at the practice times, it seems like this could be between Ronan and Oscar for this evening's wins.
Yeah, it definitely is shaping up to be that way. And the great thing about motorsport and sim racing is it's never written, it's never decided on paper. It's always decided out on track, and that's the big thing. Sean McClements now they're in 6th place in this practice session so far with a 2:05 5.8 as his best lap time. So that's just under a second away from Ronan Doherty's early pace setting in this session. And wow, he's got some pace on him as Ronan Doherty. About 6/10 clear of anybody else so far, as there is Rory O'Shea then, currently 10th in this practice session then, as he makes his way through towards the infield section here at Road America. But yeah, I think it's looking like Ronan Doherty's got a really good, sharp turn of pace about him, and take what you will away from practice sessions. Drivers maybe don't push as hard as they possibly can. They don't extract everything they possibly can out of themselves. They normally wait until qualifying to do that. But the fact that we've got about a half, in fact, it's nearly 7/10 of a second between Ronan Doherty and Oscar Mangan, well, that is a huge advantage to Doherty heading into qualifying.
Yeah, and Ronan, a man who we have come to know can come back in championships when he might be a little bit far behind. If I remember correctly, his Formula 4 championship, he wasn't in the lead of that until about this point in that season. But Ronan, a multiple time RTA champion, of course, in the Super Formula Lights campaign, he took a fabulous amount of wins, 7 to be exact, 15 podiums, of course, even his hat trick in Imola. But he's still waiting for a hat trick this season. Is a bit of problems for Jamal, it seems, getting out of the pit lane. The driver's just having to overtake him on their way out, but plenty of space around this 6.5 kilometer Road America circuit, 4.0 miles and 14 corners. The lap record held by a man who you mightn't have heard in a while in motorsport, Mr. Alex Zanardi, holding the lap record here around Road America. It's a very big circuit, Kieran.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd think at this point there'd be plenty of space out there for drivers to set their lap times in qualifying, but you see the swarm as they all descended onto the circuit en masse. And, well, they're just deciding that it's better to beat the clock right now, see where you can go with it. I mean, we saw those lap times. They are well into the 2 minutes here. So, realistically, you're getting about 6 laps, maybe 7 if you're entirely lucky. So you haven't got many laps to really set the bar, to really set your lap times here. So it's no wonder that everybody has bombarded Road America, got onto the circuit as soon as possible, regardless of how much traffic there is, just to get out there to set a lap time. Because as we said before, you really only have 6 bites of the cherry. In fact, maybe even 5 once you actually get across the line to start a new flying lap. You don't have many chances to get it absolutely spot on.
No, you don't. And we can see Ronan Doherty, the man who was quickest in practice, he was setting about 2:04s, 2:05s, but might be able to go just that tad little bit quicker. We might ride on board with Ronan to start the qualifying session. Of course, no Jordan Kelly here tonight, so we can't cut to Jordan's lap. I'm pretty sure the last time Jordan wasn't able to provide a lap, we turned our attention over to Ronan, so we're going to do the same again as he's heading through the final corner now to start this 6.5 kilometer lap. Up the hill, it is a very steep climb down towards the first corner. It is quite a thin start-finish straight, so we mightn't be able to see free wide in towards the first corner. Ronan will be looking for the cones on the left-hand side here and looking to brake at the second one, down into about third gear, fourth gear, depending on his choice, and just rotating the car out of it, picking up all the curve that he can. Then it's a heavy braking zone for what is technically turn number 3. You're looking to rotate the car in towards this right-hander and just use all that curve on the outside and accelerate down turn number 4 and in towards the moraine sweep. You're looking for the boards on the right hand side as they head up here. There's a free board that will pop up, brake just about after that, just before the 2, to get the car down in towards the left-hander. This could be an overtaking zone in the race because it is quite slow, but it is also once again very thin. Then it's an uphill left-hander. You want to try and avoid the inside until the latest point possible because that can spin the car around, and then it's a very quick right-hander of turn number 7 and down Hurry Downs in towards turn number 8. Ronan, you can see using all the track on that outside. Brake heavy once again for another left-hander, similar to what we saw at turn number 5, and then you're getting ready for the carousel, turn number 9 and 10. A trick Ronan will use through here. He goes down the gears to rotate the car around and get a little bit of a launch out the exit of the corner. Keeps it as close to the inside as possible and then drives out of it. Then it's the kink of turn number 11. You can get this flat if you take it correctly. And Ronan does just about get it flat through there, using all of the track on both the inside and the outside. Then it's the heavy braking zone for the Canada corner at turn number 12. A very difficult corner. Ronan just getting it nicely through there, using the dirt on the inside to sort of help to rotate the car around. Then it's fourth gear through here. You can almost get it flat, maybe just a little bit of a lift off in towards the braking zone for the final corner. Turn number 14, just on the exit of Bill Mitchell bend. Round it out, use all the track possible without picking up a 1X, head up the hill once again, and that is a lap with Ronan Doherty.
Nicely done, and that's probably where the checkered flag will be thrown thrice this evening there. Right up there's a great view from the start-finish straight there. As you pointed out, Evan, that point on this circuit here gets very, very narrow, so it's all about making sure you pick your moments. Qualifying here and your position, your grid position, is going to be extremely important, and I imagine there's going to be a little bit of drama going in towards the first one. There is someone in the background kissing the wall there and still onto the grass, as that is Sean McClements, who just gives that wall a little bit of a kiss. I don't think he was long out of the pit lane, in all fairness. He'll have to go all the way back to the pit lane then, get a bit of damage repaired instantly. Luckily that it's qualifying and he can get back out there like nothing ever happened. Brian McManus there in 4th place right now with the 2 minute 6.5. So he looks to try and get himself up and running for qualifying. There he is then, making his way through this left-hander. Plenty of opportunity here to use a little bit more than the curb. But as you've said, Evan, you've got to be very wary about the 1Xs around here. They're very easy to creep up onto you at certain points of the track, as we follow Brian McManus all the way through, as Rory O'Shea comes into tonight 11th in the championship. And it's a bit of a surprise for me, because he's got a quick turn of pace about him, Rory O'Shea, on his day.
Yeah, I think he's missed a few rounds as Rory. He hasn't been here as much as he was maybe in the Super Formula Lights, where he was challenging for the championship, and it seemed to be Jordan beating Rory first and second every week for about 4 or 5 weeks at some point in that championship. But Rory O'Shea just maybe not here as much as he'd like to, but here tonight and challenging in 4th position. Ronan Doherty is going quickest. We now take a look at John McDonald, who's heading through the carousel, and try have a look at John's roof if you can, as he's driving past. That is all I say. But John currently the slowest of the timed runners, but we still haven't got a lot of times on the board yet, Kieran, which is very surprising for an RTA race.
Absolutely. Well, we're heading towards the halfway mark of this session, and we only have 9 times on the board. So yeah, it's a little bit hectic at the moment, as someone just off the road there maybe giving way to all that traffic heading their way through. Here comes Kevin Joyce across the line then, hopefully to set our 10th lap time of the session. Where does that put him? It doesn't actually put him on the board. So yeah, no. I think a lot of this is to do with track limits, perhaps, as Simon Hutchings then goes up to 6th fastest. Yeah, I was talking about track limits. It's a very narrow track, and perhaps track limits playing a little bit of a part into why we haven't got many lap times on the board. They were starting to creep in there, as I was talking on that bit of a spiel about how there weren't many lap times. We've had 4 across the line since then. Nevertheless, here's a Rory O'Shea. Over the crest we go, and towards the start-finish line. Currently 4th fastest on a 2 minute 6.133. Can he improve on that lap time to get him up the order? No, he can't. So stays 4th fastest at this moment in time.
Yeah, currently Ronan Doherty, who is leading the order ahead of Sean McGoldrick in 2nd, Oscar Mangan in 3rd, Rory O'Shea in 4th, then it's Brian McManus, Simon Hutchings, Jamal Ganzor ahead of Evan Walsh, Peter McCann, John McDonald, Philip Upson, Gary Corcoran, and then Colin Carrigan. Looking on board with, or not on board, but looking at Evan Walsh, I should say. He's been a man who's had a fairly decent couple of weeks. Last week was involved in a great battle in Heat 3 with Peter McCann, finished 7th then. Currently 8th in qualifying, so looking to just get one more spot. But he's featured on the podium a couple of times this season, in round number 1 in Willow Springs, and in race number 3 of round number 3 in the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So Evan Walsh, a man to keep an eye out for here tonight, as he's just heading through the right-hand kink, but does need to pick up the pace a little bit in qualifying if he wants to get near that podium. We're still waiting on times from Dylan McClemens, Tommy Nuker, and last week's driver of the day, Ian May, Sean McClemens, Kevin Joyce, David Prunty, Aaron Dalton, and Rich Murphy. So they're leaving it quite late, as we see the 2 McClemenses slipstreaming once again.
Once again. It's always a bit of a McClemens tactic, this, isn't it? As Dylan moves to one side, Sean powers through, and let's see what Sean can do to try and finish off this lap then. Through out of Canada corner they will go. Head our way through towards turn 13. A pretty scary corner, as you said, Evan. You want to try and take it flat out through here, but perhaps these Mustangs don't quite have the ability and the aero to go flat out through there. But out of turn 14 we go, and we go over the crest, and no doubt Dylan McClemens further behind will try and use a bit of a double toe from his 2 teammates up ahead. Here comes Sean McClemens across the line. Does he get a lap time on the board at long last? Yes, he does. He goes 5th fastest, does Sean McClemens, 2 minutes 6.3.
Yeah, Sean McClemens just beating Tommy Nukerin, who went up to 6th. So Tommy continuing his strong form from Daytona and putting his fabulous sim rig to good use. Still no time from Dylan McClemens, who will look to carry on behind Sean. We have 9 minutes and 40 down in this session out of the full 15. Remember, once that clock strikes 15, qualifying is done. You're not allowed to improve upon your time. That will be that. Ronan Doherty is still with a 5/10 of a second lead here. He is very quick around this Road America circuit, at least in qualifying for now. Wonder can Oscar Mangan maybe just say something about that. Road America, maybe not a circuit that's as commonly driven by Oscar as Daytona was last week. But Oscar Mangan always a threat in these sessions, of course, as we see that is Peter McCann, I believe, gone off the circuit, or at least it's one of the VIR cars. So it is Peter McCann who just lets Ronan through in very inconvenient fashion.
Yeah, but you know what? It's unconventional, but now it's on
conventional. That's the word.
It's conventional now, definitely. Peter McCann there is someone's off the circuit there, just on the left-hand side as the quartet make their way through towards the left-hander. That's David Prunty, so he's now back in the pits. But we're going to rejoin the circuit. That's going to be tight. Will he actually get a lap time on the board there? That's going to be very, very tight because he'll leave the pit lane. It'll be about 2.5 minutes on the outlap. So, and then he'll have to complete the lap. So perhaps he might not get a chance to get a lap time on the board. We'll keep an eye on it though.
Yeah. Oh, Ronan Doherty actually coming into blows in qualifying. You can see Peter McCann just bouncing his way right behind. Not sure who that was that Ronan made contact with, but he has made contact, and that wonder will that be investigated. We don't often see qualifying incidents investigated, but Ronan had a lot of traffic in front and has managed to get through relatively unscathed. Sean McClements improves to 4th position. Dylan McClements puts his first lap on the board in 9th. Oscar Mangan is able to beat Sean McGoldrick. He's gone to 2nd. There's about one more lap left for these drivers, and this is crucial time.
It is crucial time, and yeah, only what's that, 1/100th of a second really in it at the top of the order between Doherty and Mangan. You never want to give all your cards away. You always want to keep them close to your chest until that final lap of qualifying, where you unleash everything and reveal all along that you had the royal flush needed to take pole position. That's exactly what Oscar Mangan will be hoping for. Sean McGoldrick is back into the pit lane, so that will be qualifying done and dusted for Sean McGoldrick. Then here's Rory O'Shea making his way around the final corner. He should get one more chance if he wants it. He'll make his way over the crest and towards the start-finish line. Currently 5th fastest in this qualifying session. Can Rory O'Shea get himself further up the order? He's been on a 2 minute 6.1 for quite some time. He stays on a 2 minute 6.1. I can only assume track limits means that he has no improvement. He will get one more chance. Brian McManus, meanwhile, is all over. Evan Walsh is all over the back of him here as we make our way towards the back end of the circuit then, as we head our way through out of Canada corner through in towards turn 13 we'll go, and 14 with Evan Walsh chomping at the bit here to try maybe not find a way past, but both these drivers know now this is their last chance.
Yep, teammates Brian McManus and Evan Walsh, although in different colour cars, but the man who was getting the slipstream does pull into the pit lane. Brian McManus will come up towards the start-finish line and hope for an improvement here in the dying embers of qualifying at Road America. Across the line now goes McManus, no improvement there. Here's Tommy Nukaran, he's looking for an improvement on his lap time, but no, it doesn't come. Ian May as well, just right behind. He'll find an improvement. 12th spot now for Ian May, jumps ahead of Peter McCann. Dylan McClements goes to 7th. That's not the qualifying that Dylan would have been hoping for. Here comes Oscar Mangan towards the line. Is he able to beat Ronan Doherty? We wait for the timing screen to kick in, and no, doesn't seem like he is able to beat Ronan. So we will have to start behind Doherty here on the front row for the opening heat at Road America. Rory O'Shea flying through the kink down towards Canada corner. Is he improving upon his time? Doesn't seem to be going by the splits at the bottom of the timing screen. Has improved in that 4th sector, I should say. So we'll await and see as he comes towards the line.
Absolutely riding on board in the cockpit then as we ride with Rory O'Shea in the closing stages of this lap then through and towards turn 13, now making his way through in towards the final corner now. Try and get this all hooked up. He's only had one green sector on this lap, but he'll now make his way over the crest. Can he finally get off of that 2 minute 6.1 that he's been on for the last 4 or 5 laps? Track limits have plagued Rory O'Shea in this session, but he now crosses the line. Can he set a lap time? Yes, he can. 2-minute 5.967 from Rory O'Shea. It's an improvement in lap time, but not in position, and he will stay on the third row of the grid.
Yeah, we're just waiting for Colin Carrigan to finish the qualifying, although he pulls off to the left-hand side. Somebody bouncing around the pit lane and spinning into the pit box. Not sure the track marshals will be enjoying that one. David Prunty, not able to set a time. Very disappointing for David. Was just coming through the final corner, but it will be Ronan Doherty that starts on pole position ahead of Oscar Mangan in second. Sean McGoldrick then in third, with Sean McClements in fourth. Rory O'Shea will start in fifth. Brian McManus in sixth. Dylan McClellan starts seventh. Tommy Nukaran will start in eighth. Head of Jamal Gandor in ninth. Evan Walsh in 10th. Simon Hutchings in 11th with Ian May in 12th. Peter McCann in 13th. John McDonald 14th. Colin Carrigan in 15th. Head of Philip Upson, Gary Corcoran and Kevin Joyce down there in 18th position. So no time on the board for Kevin. No time on the board for the drivers below him as we're getting ready to go here beside Elkhart Lake.
Absolutely, and it's Ronan Doherty who will see what he can do from that top step, with Oscar Mangan alongside him. Not long now, with a very narrow start-finish straight and a right-hander. Ronan Doherty's got that inside line. There will be a rolling start here behind the Porsche pace car, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be a full rolling start. So we've got about pretty much 4 minutes once we start rolling before we get ourselves underway. Maybe 3.5 minutes if we're being completely picky.
3.5, that will probably feel like an hour, just warning you all now. But we will have a full rolling start with Doherty and Mangan alongside each other at the start-finish line. This circuit, of course, was built back in the 1950s, and it cost about $175,000 to build this circuit from start to finish, which in a modern society sounds very cheap. And this Road America circuit, not the oldest circuit in the world if you compare it to maybe some of the British tracks that RTA has raced at, but it is an older circuit here in America. The first race on the 10th of September 1955, it was a Sports Car Club of America race organised here, and now we are sim racing around it. How the times have changed. But just looking at some of the cars heading down this straight here, Kieran, and to go back to what we were speaking about during qualifying, even at this slow speed, there's not a lot of room.
No, not at all. So you've really got to pick your battles. You've really got to hope that everybody else gives you the space. And these Mustangs are not small cars either. You can just about run them side by side. We will just about get too wide on a pace car start over the start-finish line. But you see, even on this pace car lap, there is not a lot of margin for error. You haven't got a lot of room. You desperately need your spotter. So luckily iRacing gives one for you to give you an idea of what's going on. But yeah, this is one of those tracks you really do need a spotter. You really need your mirrors and your wits about you at certain points of this track, just to give you an idea of where everybody is, and more importantly, so that you don't turn in. You said 1954, was it? About $150,000, did you say?
Yeah, $175,000.
$175,000. Right, okay, so
it's not even a house now in this area.
It's more than a house. It's about two.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
$2 million.
Yeah,
seems, $2 million in today's money. So there you go.
Yeah, so it still was quite expensive, I suppose. It's not something you have lying around the house, anyways. But so they're heading down towards the left-hander now of turn number 8, I believe. I want to say turn number 8. Yeah, it is turn number 8. Here's a word of advice from me. If you need more space around this track, just make it yourself by running wide. I did that. Was very successful. Managed to get a good lap time in. Not really. These drivers don't want to run wide because penalties could be a big thing here tonight. Once you get a certain amount of X's, you have to serve a drive-through penalty, and that will ruin your race. We've seen it in controversial fashion in the last couple of seasons. Lawrence de Sosra losing a podium place, Jordan Kelly losing a second place in the previous 2 seasons. So, Kieran, I suppose behaving tonight is more important than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they do say the X's and the O's, they haunt you, especially when it comes to a very narrow track like this. You've got to have... You've got to be on your best behaviour. Contact is going to be a big one as well. as we've already said, there's not a lot of space around here, so not only track limits but contact as well can easily get 4x just by running alongside someone and hitting their door. It can easily happen, so you've got to make sure you try and keep that to a minimum. And if it's going to happen on a track like this, you really hope it doesn't. But yeah, those are unforgiving walls left and right of you. It's a concrete wall on the left, it's the Armco on the right. Not an encouraging sight, especially if you're running side by side. And hopefully the drivers will stay away from all of those. But the pace car starts to pick up the pace in the Porsche pace car as we round off our final few corners out of Canada corner through 13. And we're approaching the final corner now, Evan. Rolling in formation. We're about to get this one started. Doherty and Mangan sharing the front row.
Yeah, plenty of time to heat the tyres here. I suppose we're quite lucky that it's actually a smaller grid for RTA's high standards, so it should be a little bit less chaotic down towards the first corner. Less chaotic doesn't mean necessarily not chaotic though, and Ronan Doherty will head up the hill, accelerate as we go racing in Road America for the first time tonight. Great start by the third place man of Sean McClemens heading down towards the first corner. He's looking to attack Oscar Mangan here as they go two abreast in towards turn number 1. O'Shea gets ahead of McManus. Tommy Newkern looking to make spaces as well. He's actually been overtaken by Dylan McClemens, so good start by the McClemens brothers down towards the right hand there, and you can see Evan Walsh looking to get involved as well. Sean McGoldrick well in front of Rory O'Shea, so a bad start for Rory under pressure from Brian McManus as they head down towards the Moraine sweep for the first time.
Yeah, Ronan Doherty actually ran a little bit wide out of turn 1 there, so Oscar Mangan was trying to reel him in. Simon Hutchings and Ian May running side by side now as we make our way now on the descent down towards turn 5, as that's a bit of side by side action going on there. That's Simon Hutchings, Ian May battling away. Jamal Gandor, I think, just got himself a couple of positions there out of absolutely nowhere. So he's got himself right up there now, up into 8th place and passing the likes of Tommy Nukarainen down to 9th place now, the Finnish driver. But yeah, that was a hard charging Jamal Gandor going down in towards turn 5 there. Absolutely no mercy.
Yeah, Jamal, one of our movers and shakers here at the front of the grid, and Kevin Joyce, you can see, looking to attack Phil, or is that Philip Upson passing Kevin Joyce? Not too sure, but there was one car wide there as John McDonald is looking to fish it round the outside. Philip Upson, it was who ran wide, and now side by side for the carousel with McDonald. That's not an easy thing to do. So both of these drivers doing very well indeed to keep it on the racing surface. Gary Corcoran able to get past Colin Carrigan in towards the kink. That's a great move from Gary Corcoran. He is now up to 17th place ahead of Colin and will charge on to try and get involved in that fight between Philip and John.
Yeah, it was a heck of a move, wasn't it? I did think at the time, well, there's someone trying to go down the inside there. That's Aaron Dalton. Gary Corcoran runs a little bit onto the gravel there. I did think with Gary Corcoran, he might have lost a little bit of momentum hanging off on that move. But there is... oh, he's lost the back end, Gary Corcoran, and he's into the wall. So after that great move then, Corcoran is off and around. And he'll have to try and rejoin there. Hopefully the damage isn't too bad. Might have a quick repair and see if he can get back into this race just to see if he can get to the checkered flag. But the top two starting to break away now. Doherty ahead of Oscar Mangan. Then it's Sean McClemens, and we're looking back here. It's the battle of the Seans for the final place on the podium here in Heat 1.
Yep, it is McClemens versus McGoldrick. Very disappointed that for Gary, because that was a really good move in towards the kink, and very disappointed to see him just lose it and pick up damage. But thankfully it happened in Heat 1 and not Heat 3. He does have time to pick up some points tonight. Front two slowly running away, as you can see Oscar Mangan taking a very intriguing line over the curb. Then it is McClemens and McGoldrick in their own little battle behind. Then it's O'Shea and McManus in their own little battle behind. So it's 2 by 2 by 2 they go. And Sean McGoldrick has got ahead. And Sean McClemens sideways in towards turn number 6. The bad luck strikes him once again. And that is awfully disappointing. Let's have a look on the Gantry TV instant replay. But it's an all too familiar sight for Sean McClemens.
It is indeed. So this is him into turn 5 now. He'll get back onto the power then. Up the hill we go and towards turn 6. He catches the grass on the outside and the car says absolutely not. That's a real shame for Sean McClemens there. But picking up that grass, unsettling the car. He tries to turn in with the speed he has and the car says you're having a laugh. It just doesn't comply.
No, Sean now down to 18th position, but again, just like we said for Gary Corcoran, he'll have Heat 2 and Heat 3 to come back in this one, but there'll be no podium finish that he is so badly after here, after not having won since the first round this season. Ronan Doherty just starting to stretch his legs at the front maybe in this one, just getting ahead of Oscar Mangan. Oscar is still with Ronan, but he's not right in his tail like we saw sometimes last week in Daytona. Ronan won the opening heat last week in Daytona, but it wasn't from pole position. We're still waiting from someone to win from pole in the Heat 1 here this season. It was Jordan who took pole last week and then finished second. So Ronan looking to do what no one else has been able to do in this Ford Mustang GT3. It's Doherty, Mangan, McGoldrick, then O'Shea, McManus, McClements. Here is Peter McCann overtaking Simon Hutchings for 10th place.
Yep, nice move down in towards turn 1 there for Peter McCann, getting himself now up into the top 10 of proceedings, passing the Welshman of Simon Hutchings, and rejoining then our battle for the lead as we'll make our way onwards down towards turn 5 very shortly. Mangan perhaps just filling the mirrors there of Ronan Doherty. Down in towards turn 5 we go, getting back onto the power now, as then we'll ascend up towards turn 6. It's sort of where you get to your 90-degree corners section. Through we go then out of turn 6. We head away towards turn 7, but there is Brian McManus, and up the inside there went Dylan McClements up the inside in the number 2 machine, and he gets himself a nice position there up to 5th place out of turn 7. Next in his sights will be Rory O'Shea, I should say.
Yep, Dylan McClemens up to 5th, so while one McClemens goes falling down the order, Dylan cutting through the field and getting up to 5th spot. We're over halfway through this race though, so not an awful lot of time left for Dylan to catch Rory O'Shea. McGoldrick seems to have cemented himself in 3rd place now since that's been for Sean McClemens. Here's Tommy Newcron looking to try and attack Jamal Gandor, the 2 orange-coloured Mustangs, heading in towards the back sector here at Road America. And both Jamal and Tommy having good seasons, or they're certainly having a recent good patch of form. Tommy Newcron, our driver of the day here in Gantry TV last week from Daytona, and Jamal Gandor, a man who's finishing in the top 10, way more consistent than he was maybe in the Super Formula Lights, and top 10 in the championship as well, of course, but not necessarily consistent heading through turn number 12 and 13, because he's ran a little bit wide and is now under pressure from the finishman right behind him. Tommy Newcron, of course, racing for Black Horse Sim Racing, looking to go for the outside on Jamal Gandor in towards the first corner. Not easy to make a move in towards this turn number 1. It's a lot quicker speed than you think it is. And here he goes, just trying to keep it down the outside. It's a long run down this straight. Jamal's had a lot of time to think about how late he has to brake. Well defended by Jamal. Tommy not really getting a look in, but he's trying to go for the switchback down towards the corner. And Ian May battling with Kevin Joyce. Here is Tommy Newcron diving down the inside. Newcron is ahead. Gandor just has to be careful to not run wide. Doesn't run wide. Great respect between these two.
Yeah, and we look at Evan Walsh right on the back of both of them now. Look at this, he's got front row tickets for this one, with Tommy Nugarainen on the right-hand side, Jamal Gandor on the left, as we make our way down towards turn 5 now. Which way will Evan Walsh go? It's almost like he's helping Jamal Gandor on then. Down in towards turn 5 we go, and Jamal Gandor just about keeping ahead of Tommy Nugarainen right now. Evan Walsh right behind through in towards turn 6 we go. Gandor and Nugarainen still running side by side here, as Nugarainen runs a little bit wide there, and that is Evan Walsh there, who has to take a little bit of evasive action. He saw the door was closing on him, and it's almost like Nugarainen might not have seen him. Evan Walsh flashes the lights to remind him, I'm part of this battle too, Tommy, don't close the door.
Yeah, despite all that battling so far this lap and the 4th lap at Road America, no positional changes. Still Gandor, Nugarainen and Walsh, apologies, in 7th, 8th and 9th. Peter McCann just behind there as well. He could get involved in this fight very quickly if he wanted to, but in towards the flat-out kink, no move's going to be made in towards Canada corner. Doherty still 6/10 ahead of Oscar Mangan. Although looking comfortable, race not over just yet. Oscar could definitely still have a go if he put a good lap in.
Could do indeed, and the fact that they're still within a second of each other is really good to see. Jamal Gandor is trying to get away up the road because Nugarainen and Evan Walsh were squabbling away from position. That's invited Peter McCann into this battle now as they head their way through in towards the final corner, riding on board now with Peter McCann, who runs a little bit wide on the exit there. That's going to cost him momentum, and Simon Hutchings isn't too far down the road of Peter McCann, so he could try to close in. Gap stayed about 1.2 seconds relative down the straight here as we head our way down towards turn 1, but we're on to the final lap already, and Doherty and Mangan only separated by about half a second right now.
Yeah, only half a second. It's been about that for the last couple of laps. So Ronan Doherty managing that gap well. Jamal Gandor has 3.2 in front of him to Brian McManus, but he has a full train of cars right behind, heading down the hill towards turn number 5. For the final time here in heat number 1, these are going to feel like very quick races because we're not going to get an awful lot of laps in. Even in actual real races here at Road America, you never have a big lap count because of just how big this circuit is. Gary Corkin gets past Ian May in one of the minor battles, but Evan Walsh just staying in front of Peter McCann for the time being. 6th and 7th for them in Heat 3 last week, but it was McCann who got ahead of Walsh. So Walsh is looking to turn the tables a little bit and stay in front of Peter McCann. John McDonald getting past Colin Carrigan. Look how close Oscar Mangan is here. There could be one final move on. There's not an awful lot of overtaking zones for Oscar Mangan though. Ronan Doherty not home and dry just yet, still has to fight for this.
Does indeed, but Mangan's going to chase him all the way then as they head their way out of the carousel, through and towards the kink we go. Ronan Doherty's done well to hold back Oscar Mangan. Mangan looking to try and size up the opportunity as we head our way through in towards the Kettle Bottoms, down towards Canada Corner. There's not many heavy braking zones left of this circuit, and overtaking from this point onwards just gets more and more tricky.
Yep, no real dive bomb corners, at least for Oscar Mangan. Unless he's brave enough in towards this final corner. It's the last lap of the race, and he's going to go for it down the inside, goes Oscar Mangan, but there's not enough space there. Unless he can get a monstrous run after that one, which I don't believe he has. Ronan Doherty will come up the hill here in Elkhart and win the first heat at Road America. Great win for Doherty, control it from start to front. Mangan in second. McGoldrick will come home in third, as that is Peter McCann. That's ran wide. So McCann going to lose a place to Hutchings and to Kevin Joyce. He was behind Evan Walsh, and that's Tommy Nukaran. I think there could have been contact between them two potentially, but that is Tommy Nukaran and Peter McCann who've both lost places.
Yeah, Nukaran actually ended up in the wall on the final corner there. Let's have a look and see what happened to the Finnish driver then. So you can just about see him up the road there. Peter McCann chasing down Evan Walsh. And there is Tommy Nukaran. What happens here? Does he lose that back end? Is there contact? He runs too wide, spins up the rear tyres, hits the wall. And so Peter McCann running wide is just a completely separate incident. Tommy Nukaran unfortunately losing the back end all on his own.
Yeah, they weren't connected. I thought because they were so close on track that they could have been connected incidents, but no, not in the slightest. They just two separate incidents on their own. We'll have the full confirmation of the race results shortly, folks, but what a great win by Ronan Doherty.
What a great win indeed, and good battling from Doherty and Mangan to take the top 2 places. Really, really good stuff to see, and a preview of what's to come.
Yeah, so Doherty taking the win then ahead of Oscar Mangan. Then it is Sean McGoldrick in third, O'Shea fourth, Dylan McClements in fifth, Brian McManus in sixth, Jamal Gandor in seventh, Evan Walsh in eighth, Simon Hutchings in ninth, then Kevin Joyce in 10th. Then it is McCann, Upson, McClements, and Nukaran, Prunty, McDonald, Carrigan, and Rich Murphy down in 18th position. And then a little bit further back, Gary Corcoran, Ian May, and Aaron Dalton rounding out the 21 driver field.
Yeah, great performance though from Kevin Joyce as well. Up 8 positions from when we started. He finished inside the top 10, so brilliant drive from Kevin Joyce. He'll be hoping that there's no ceiling for him tonight. How much further can he go? We're about to find out.
Yes, we are. It'll be that same order here for heat number 2, and then of course we will have the reverse top 8 for heat number 3. If you're new to RTA, this second heat 15 minutes, I should say. The first heat 10 minutes, and then the final heat will be 20 minutes with a reverse top 8. But we got to keep our eyes on heat 2 so far, and Sean McGoldrick finishing on the podium, but Oscar Mangan still outscoring him crucially in the championship. So even when Oscar's not winning, he is very consistent. And remember, Oscar Mangan not only outscoring second in the championship in that race, he's also outscoring third in the championship Jordan Kelly. Jordan, who not here this evening, of course. It's very rare that you get such a brilliant opportunity to outscore him by a huge amount of points. Jordan, a multiple-time RTA champion in the GT4 Cup, in the Formula Vs, more news on Formula Vs later, in F3, and even an IDMC champion in the BMW M8. Jordan, also very quick in the BMW M4, so I hear. But Kieran, Oscar is so far grabbing this opportunity with 2 hands.
Absolutely, and sort of taking a bit of a Prost approach to this one. He knows he doesn't have to score every single point, every single time. He's been consistent. That's how he came into tonight, with sort of a 20-ish point lead. heading into tonight's racing action. He just knows that as long as he scores more than his rivals, more than who he's battling, then he increases his championship lead. And there's some sort of, it's a cool and calm performance there. Yes, he might have tried a little bit of a launch in towards the final corner. It was more of it's probably yet less than a half-hearted attempt. It was more of a quarter-hearted attempt, maybe just to try and throw Ronan Doherty off his line a little bit. But the experience of Ronan Doherty, he was not going to fall for that whatsoever, and he managed to take the victory. But for Mangan, he knows he doesn't have to score those points every single time, and I think that last race showed he was happy enough to stay behind Ronan Doherty and pick up more points than those of his championship protagonists.
Yeah, and I think we've had this conversation a lot on Gantry TV streams. Consistency wins championships here in RTA. We've had that conversation time and time again about Jordan Kelly. So even though Oscar Mangan probably hasn't watched those streams, but he's certainly taking those lessons into this season. But all could change. We still got 2 more heats coming up here in Road America. Remember, this Mustang America's Cup sponsored by Motorsport.ie, so make sure you do go check out Motorsport.ie for all their Irish motorsport coverage, as well as, of course, checking out RTA Virtual Motorsport. If you want to race here at RTA, you can do. Check out RTAVirtualMotorsport.com to sign up for next season, which will be back in the Formula V. So very interesting to see that, and being announced during the week. But we're heading down towards the kink here, Kieran, and we're going to get going racing soon.
We are indeed. Looking forward to it. And again, those top 2, Mangan and Doherty, should be an interesting turn 1. Everyone managed to make it through turn 1 last time around, which was a bit of a surprise to me. Let's make it 2 for 2, drivers. Go on, I know you can do it. Do it for Gantry TV.
Do it for Gantry TV as... oh, sorry. I've just snapped my pen in half.
I heard that. It was intentionally palpable. You can break it with a pen, apparently.
I've just completely snapped my pen in half. I do this like once a broadcast at this point. But it is Ronan Doherty who is on pole position with Oscar Mangan in second. And it will be Sean McGoldrick in the third. This could get very interesting heading up the hill. The pace car is going to peel off now, and it will be Doherty who will look to try and get a very similar launch to what he got in heat number 1, because he was very quick up this hill in heat number 1. And now, yes, once again, we go racing here in Road America, and Ronan Doherty has got away very well indeed. Keep an eye on Sean McGoldrick. Might even be able to go for second, because Oscar Mangan has bogged down a slight little bit heading up the hill, and he is down to third, or is he? Sean McGoldrick side by side with Rory O'Shea. No, Mangan holds on, as does McGoldrick. Dylan McClements looking to sneak his way past Rory O'Shea in towards turn number 3. Ronan Doherty is away well and safe in towards the first couple of corners. They're all very clean this time round. It seems like these drivers know just how narrow this track can get.
Yeah, that's the second time Ronan Doherty's just absolutely punched it and almost left Oscar Mangan for absolutely nothing there. Mangan's managed to reel that back in. Sean McGoldrick had a really good opportunity to try and nab second place away from Mangan, but he couldn't quite get the move done and dusted there. Rory O'Shea in 4th place, Dylan McClements in 5th with McManus 6th, Evan Walsh in 7th place, as that's Tommy Nukarainen down to 14th after that spin in the final corner. He'll have to battle his way up the field. David Prunty was looking for a move up the inside going in towards turn 6, but by the timing screens, looks like that move didn't come to fruition, as Oscar Mangan once again turning up the heat against Ronan Doherty.
Yep, seems like it's going to be these two fighting once again here in heat number 2, just like they were last week in Daytona for all 3 heats. But of course, there was another car in the mix on that day, on board with Doherty just exiting the carousel. Oscar Mangan, despite getting a poor getaway, is right with Ronan through the kink. And keep an eye on Oscar Mangan throughout this heat. A little bit further back, there's a couple of drivers who've gained a few positions. Kevin Joyce is up 2, Ian May is up 3, Aaron Dalton up 2, Gary Corcoran losing 2, as has Rich Murphy. So a bit of a swap down in the backpack, but not overall a huge gain. I'm sure the reverse grid race will provide something different, but almost 2 minutes on the clock here in this one, and it's still the same top 3. Last week we had the same top 3 in all 3 heats for the first time this season, so could history repeat itself very quickly? Peter McCann looking to put Jamal Gandor up under pressure, as that is a spin for Philip Upson. So Upson's woes continue. Didn't have a strong week in Daytona, and unfortunately not having a strong week here in Road America. He's going to spin towards the back.
Yeah, and that's out of the final corner. It's just been looking at drivers quite easy to actually just drop the back end where you try and take a little bit too much speed into the corner then, as John McDonald fancied a move, or maybe just filling those right-hand side mirrors of David Prunty then to try and see if he can find a way through. But making their way now down the hill in towards turn 3 then, Prunty looks to try and take defence and shove it to attack as he tries to chase down Nukarainen for 13th place. Doherty still leads the way then, Mangan in 2nd place, and just about of a carbon copy of the last race. The top 2 breaking away from the rest of the pack. Mangan taking a slightly wider line out of into turn 5, I should say, to get the power down earlier. There's Peter McCann, who's putting Sean McClements under pressure. McCann has managed to find his way up the inside. Sean McClements was trying to close the door then, but it's too late. Peter McCann has got his nose through the door, the foot on the door there. They'll have to go the long way round though, through in towards the next corner, but Sean McClements has that inside line. They're still running side by side. A little bit of door-to-door action. McClements will have the inside line. They're going in towards turn 8, but McClements still looking to have that inside line as we make our way through in towards the carousel. And this is one place you really ought not to be going side by side, because the risk of understeer is so real. Look how close they're running here. McClements and McCann making their way through the carousel. Now towards the kink we go. The fast right-hander.
Oh, wow.
McClements has the inside line. Look how close they are. Unbelievable. Peter McCann is just about ahead of Sean McClements. And look at this now. The gaggle of the trio behind trying to pick up the pieces there. There were no pieces to be found because Peter McCann and Sean McClements battling away. Peter McCann though runs wide though, coming out of Canada corner, and all that hard work, all that bravery from Peter McCann has been ousted by the gravel trap. Oh, someone off there. It's Sean McGoldrick once again in the wall.
Yeah, so Sean McGoldrick goes off. Full respect to Sean McClements and Peter McCann for that battle, though. That was absolutely cracking. Sean clearly learning well from someone. But Sean McGoldrick, let's see what happens him heading up the hill. Disappointing for Sean, but I 100% commentated as Kirsten, by the way, so I'm very, very much sorry for that, Sean. And I just clipped the curb heading through turn number 13. Car didn't like it, off into the wall.
Yeah, and it just seems like these Mustangs, they can take a bit of a beating, but you unsettle them, you just topple them slightly, and they just absolutely don't like it at all. Ronan Doherty and Oscar Mangan, we rejoin the battle for the lead then, heading our way down in towards turn 5. Again, slightly different lines being taken by these two leaders then, and Oscar Mangan, you'll see, closes slightly up the hill and in towards turn 6, but it's not enough to be able to do anything with. Through in towards turn 7 they will go. Brian McManus and Evan Walsh now, who are battling away for 5th place, going out of turn 7 through in towards turn 6, now in towards turn 7 we go. Evan Walsh takes a little bit more grass than perhaps he was expecting down the hill in towards turn 8, so Brian McManus has a little bit more of a car length advantage heading away through in towards the carousel.
Yeah, just riding on board here with Evan Walsh, you can see just how difficult this corner is, as Brian McManus just up and ahead. 2.4 then from McManus to McClements. Dylan McClements looking to try and overtake Rory O'Shea, but that's John McDonald, who has gone adventuring at the carousel. Just as we were saying, it's a difficult corner. John McDonald running wide there in the Hello Gantry TV livery. This is David Prunty on Simon Hutchings. Hutchings looking to attack Prunty. Much better week this week from Simon Hutchings so far, but I don't want to curse another driver, which I could well have just done. But Simon Hutchings ahead of Tommy Nukaran, who had a problem at the end of heat number 1. That's what sent him down the field. Simon Hutchings still not able to overtake David Prunty, the former B Series champion. Rory O'Shea now under pressure from Dylan McClements. Down towards turn number 1. Is Dylan able to overtake? Doesn't seem like on this occasion.
Not this time, as we make our way through in towards turn 1. O'Shea managing to keep Dylan McClements at bay. Evan Walsh, though, looking to see if he can find a way past Brian McManus. And McManus running wide out of turn 1 is the invitation that Evan Walsh wanted. But Brian McManus never got the RSVP because he stays ahead there for 5th place. Look at that, we're almost 3 wide. Going down in towards turn 3 there. Prunty, Nukarainen and Simon Hutchings at the head of that field. battling away for 11th place. Tommy Nukarainen now side by side with David Prunty as they'll now make their way through the moraine sweep and then down towards turn 5. You can just about see in Nukarainen's rear view mirror, he's starting to pull away ahead of David Prunty. Prunty, though, has the inside line and will try and take the inside line through and towards turn 5. Nukarainen runs a little bit wide, but he has able to keep that position. And that's Oscar Mangan. Mangan is off at turn 6.
Oscar Mangan, championship leader, off at turn number 6 here. That is very crucial to this race and to this championship. A man we were praising for consistency at the top of the hour has now made one of his very few mistakes this season. Let's have a look. Was he going for the move on Doherty? Or was it completely under his own accord? In towards the left. Oh my, wow, it was completely on his own. Very similar spin to Sean McClements earlier. Oh, got out of the way very well, actually. Fair play to Oscar Mangan. He's hurt himself by getting out of the way in the way he did, but he's avoided all other cars, so I'm sure the stewards will be thankful for that. But Oscar Mangan is down to 14th here in the second heat at Road America. Hutchings and Nukeren, fight continues on in towards Canada corner. Nukeren on the inside. That looks like a job done. It is. Hutchings runs a bit wide. Nukeren's got that place.
Yeah, Nukarainen now moves himself into the top 10 ahead of Simon Hutchings. David Prunty following close suit then. Rory O'Shea and Dylan McClements now have been promoted to this battle for second place as they'll make their way across the start-finish line then. So we're on to 8.5 minutes into this race. We still have a long way to go, really, with a couple of laps left on the board. Evan Walsh then looking to see if he can find a way past Kevin Joyce, then up the inside in towards turn 1. Nicely done then from Evan Walsh. Can he keep it all tidy and kept together? He runs a little bit wide out of turn 1. Kevin Joyce will think about a move. In fact, he will try a move down in towards turn 3 here. Is there a little bit of contact? Perhaps, yes. But Evan Walsh manages to hold off and hold on to 5th place. David Prunty, meanwhile, battling away with Simon Hutchings and Oscar Mangan, who's charging his way through the field. This is a recovery job now for Oscar Mangan. He needs to pick up as many points as possible from this position. He's now up into 12th place, but Simon Hutchings has the inside line, heading his way now down in towards turn 5. Mangan will try and move over, but he can't go anywhere right now as he was slightly boxed in. But there is Ian May, who looks down the inside of Simon Hutchings. Where did that move come from? From Ian May down in towards turn 6. Well, wherever it came from, it's got him P13.
Yeah, great move there by Ian May. Oscar's such a fan of the reverse grid races, he decided he wants a second one here and trying to cut through the field. If he can get up to 8 spots somehow before the end of this race, which I think it's a very large stretch for Oscar, but if he can do it, then he might just be able to clinch maximum points in the third race and minimise the damage done by that spin. But he's currently in 12th, looking to chase down David Prunty in a very similar coloured Ford Mustang GT3. Oscar heading right behind for the kink, might be able to dive down the inside through Canada corner, but Prunty quite quick through there actually in towards that curb. So David Prunty is still under a bit of pressure, but not as much as he might have been. Mangan not going to be able to get past here, will have to sit behind. And the length of this lap not going to help Oscar because there's very minimal time left to complete some moves, and he is going to go for one now though, trying to hang it around the outside of turn number 13. This is very difficult for Oscar Mangan, but it is a beautiful move indeed. It's the ultimate risk heading through that corner, but it is the ultimate test of skill also. Oscar Mangan passes with an A+.
He did not have a lot of room there, but somehow he managed to work the move, and Mangan moves himself now up into 11th place. Very nicely done there indeed. Rory O'Shea and Dylan McClements still locked in heat of battle for P2 in this race. Watch out as well for Evan Walsh and Kevin Joyce battling away for 5th place. Great battling going on for what is 11th place right now between 5 cars, although you'd think Oscar Mangan will look to try and break away. Dylan McClements looking perhaps to fill the mirrors. Will he maybe go for the move? He doesn't go for it this time around, but is it enough to just put Rory O'Shea off his line? Yes, it is. And Dylan McClements moves his way up into 2nd place. Bit of the mind games there being played by Dylan McClements, but it's got him 2nd place.
Yes, it's more points for Dylan McClements here, keeping with the trend. He is up onto 2nd place, and Dylan wasn't able to get a podium last week in Daytona, so this is a nice return to form for him. Well, that's if he keeps it, of course, as we've seen what can happen very quickly around this difficult Road America circuit. Rory O'Shea will look to keep right behind Dylan, and Can't imagine this battle is over anytime soon. Evan Walsh up to 5th. He's promoted himself nicely due to some mistakes around. And Sean McClements is on the front row for the reverse grid race as it stands. Could it be revenge for Canada? We will have to wait and see. But he's recovered nicely with a bit of assistance, of course, due to the multiple mistakes around the field for Oscar Mangan, for Tommy Nukarin. But still, every little helps, of course. And you need a little bit of luck to be very successful in racing. 12.5 minutes down on the clock, 15 total in this race, which makes me think there's only going to be one more lap at this one.
Yeah, I think you're right. As we'll make our way through very shortly. Jamal Gandor battling away now with Peter McCann for 8th place, going in towards the final corner. And Jamal Gandor takes a slightly wider line on entry. I thought that might have helped him a little bit with a cutback there, but it didn't quite help him as much as I thought it would. But look at Tommy Nukarainen, who now makes his way onwards and upwards to join this battle for 8th place. Let's ride on board with the Finnish driver then, as we make our way down towards turn 1 then, with Peter McCann in 8th place, Jamal Gandor, the car directly ahead in 9th, and riding on board with Tommy Nukarainen then. Nukarainen runs a little bit wide out of turn 1, just gets himself a little bit of momentum lost in that scenario, but I mean, he was catching the two ahead at a rate of knots, so he should be able to reel them back in quick stead.
Yeah, looking at your race leader now, Ronan Doherty, he can just coast this one home. There's no risk from any car behind, and this is looking a lot like Imola in the Super Formula lights for Ronan Doherty. When Jordan Kelly isn't here, or maybe not having his best day, Ronan is able to capitalise on it nicely. And rounding in towards turn number 8 and in through the carousel, this will be a second heat win of the evening for him. Rory O'Shea still putting Dylan McClements under a huge amount of pressure, and two of the stars of last season as well, of course, going scrapping at it for 2nd place. And McClements maybe a little bit wide for the first part, but there's a lot of lines you can take through this carousel. Every driver will have their own unique take on it. And O'Shea running that little bit tighter line hasn't actually helped him, because McClements has got a great exit through here. And in through the kink for the first time, sorry, not for the first time, for the final time. There's no real overtaking opportunities here for him, especially at the length behind that Rory O'Shea is. So it seems like the podium is all but confirmed, and it will be Doherty who will take the win. A little bit further back, Brian McManus looking to come home in 4th. He has Evan Walsh 9/10 of a second behind, but again, I thought that one looked a lot closer for those two. But ready for the final corner, 2nd heat win of the evening for Ronan Doherty. Held this one nicely, was dominant at the start. Oscar Mangan's spin just helped that, and Ronan will go into the 3rd heat looking for a 2nd career hat-trick.
We're still racing. We're still racing. We've got about 15 seconds on the clock, so Ronan Doherty gets
someone hasn't looked at their timing screen properly there. That was a yeah.
Whoops, Daisy. It's all right. You get another chance of a final lap. And look at this here. We've got a 4-car battle on our hands here for 8th place. Peter McCann, Jamal Gandor, Tommy Nukarainen, and Oscar Mangan. Now, can Mangan get his way up into reverse grid pole? That's what this battle is going to be about. It's not just for 8th place in heat number 2. It's for pole position in our 3rd and final heat on the reverse grid pole. There are no higher stakes right now, that's for sure.
Yes, there is no higher stakes here, as Jamal Gandor just looking to try and make the move on Peter McCann as well. He is very close indeed. Oscar Mangan looking to try and get past Tommy Nukarin. If Oscar could somehow get to the front of this train here, he would do himself a lot of favours in the championship endeavour. But there's no move on Tommy Nukarin.
Yet, though, as we head our way through in towards turn 5, will he perhaps think about a move in towards turn 6? No, he doesn't. Stays in that train, in that queue right now, as we'll make our way out of turn 6 through in towards turn 7. This is the problem that Oscar Mangan is going to find here. There aren't many overtaking opportunities. He can't afford to throw this one away, but he's going to chuck it down the inside here, going in towards turn 8, as he'll try and get the power down. The only problem is he'll leave him on the outside through in towards the carousel. We have seen moves being completed here, but against Tommy Nukarainen, he's got to be a little bit careful here. Yet the door was being closed by Nukarainen, and Oscar Mangan saw that and saw that he was not going to have the adhesion that would keep him in the heat of battle.
Yeah, a bit of a confidence builder this one as well for Tommy, because he's keeping the championship leader behind here on pace, and although Oscar might be quicker over one lap, he's got to overtake the car in front. As you can see, side by side in front, Gandor and McCann, but Gandor backs out of that one. And now the checkered flag has fallen. Doherty will be rounding for the final corners, And now we'll take the win. My low level of mathematics completed really came to fruition there. But Jamal Gandor looking to just try go over the mover, keep Oscar Mangan behind. Sorry, it was Tommy Nukran behind who will lose the place to Oscar Mangan. So Mangan will take 10th, but it will be McCann on pole for the reverse grid race. What an opportunity that'll be for Peter.
Absolutely, and I thought Jamal Gandor then running slightly wide out of the final corner. I just thought for a moment there perhaps that Oscar Mangan was going to grab an unlikely 9th place, recovering his way through the field, still finishing in the top 10. Solid day or solid recovery there from Oscar Mangan, but he will feel lots of points missed out on that occasion. But yeah, Ronan Doherty running away with this one. Never really looked back after that mistake there from Oscar Mangan. That brought himself down into 10th place. Sean McGoldrick, well, he'll be hoping for a third and final race that is a whole lot better. He's not had a great day today. Philip Upson, really the same, unfortunately. He spun very early on in this race, and we're just waiting now for our last finishers, Rich Murphy being one of them. He's just making his way through the kink now, and he'll make his way onwards through the Kettle Bottoms down towards Canada Corner. It was Dylan McClements finishing ahead of Rory O'Shea. Brian McManus staying ahead of Evan Walsh for 4th place, and it will be Peter McCann who will pick up that reverse grid pole position.
Yeah, great opportunity for Peter to maybe take an RTA win here in the Motorsport.ie Mustang Cup. We'll have a couple of interviews coming up shortly, folks, after we run through the final results, but we're just waiting for Gary Corcoran to bring it home. Gary unfortunately wasn't able to recover in this race, but he'll have a stab at it in heat number 3. Still, I thought there was going to be a little bit of a celebratory weave towards the start-finish line, but no, it just seemed to be a bit of a slide off the corner instead. So 20-minute reverse grid heat coming up. Here is your heat 2 results coming up on screen in a second, folks, and then we'll have the qualifying order after the interview. So Ronan Doherty takes the race win ahead of Dylan McClements. Then it is Rory O'Shea who is in 3rd spot. Then it is McManus, Walsh, Joyce, McClements, McCann, Gandor, and Oscar Mangan in 10th place.
Yeah, Tommy Nukarainen in 11th place with David Rudsey in 12th. Ian May 13th, Simon Hutchings in 14th, Colin Carrigan in 15th, John McDonald in 16th, Aaron Dalton 17th, Sean McGoldrick in 18th, with Philip Upson 19th, Rich Murphy in 20th, and Gary Corcoran finishing in 21st. And by my calculations, all 21 drivers who started that race saw the checkered flag. So good to see.
Yeah, they did. Great to see them all finishing. Now, let's cut to a couple of interviews, folks, before we get to the 3rd heat. And of course, it is the heat winner, Ronan Doherty. Ronan, incredible pace from you in heat number 1 and 2. Is it just a track that suits your driving style, or where has this come from?
I don't know. Maybe to be fair, I wasn't expecting it. Like I thought, Sean McGoldrick, Dylan, Sean McClements, they were all going to put up a good fight today. But maybe it just sort of came together. I mean, I haven't done the only practice I done was whenever I logged on there. I only done 25 laps, but Oscar done way less, so I wasn't too surprised. He was getting quicker in the first heat, just staying on my toe. And I don't even remember what I think he spun at the blind corner in the second heat. But no, look, pleasantly surprised at my pace, but happy about it, of course.
And then for the reverse grid race, will you be looking to cut through the field and maybe take a 3rd win, or what are you thinking here? Because overtaking looks quite difficult tonight.
Yeah, I could sort of see in my mirrors that Oscar was struggling with dirty air, so I'd say yeah, overtaking probably is quite difficult. But look, I've already got 2 wins. I'll try to be sensible enough with the points. But if the opportunity for the win presents itself, I'll go for it. But I'll just see how I go for now.
And then a question from our Gantry TV YouTube chat. One of your fans asks, would you ever consider to slow down and give someone else a win?
No, sometimes the other lads aren't slowing down to give me wins, so I'm going to take mine now.
Ronan, thank you very much for joining us, and all going well. We'll speak to you later on.
Hopefully so. Cheers.
Hand it over to Kieran now to speak to the 2nd place man, Dylan McClements.
Absolutely. Let's drag him in by the scruff of his neck and have a chat to him. Dylan, welcome on board. 2nd place for you here in the 2nd race of the evening. Sets you up quite nicely going into the 3rd and final race. It's a 5th and a 2nd for you. How are you feeling towards the final race? Is a race win on the cards for you tonight at all?
Hopefully, but it's gonna be a big ask to get through that grid so quickly and get away at the front, or maybe I don't know, try stay clean, but definitely looking for a win.
Absolutely. Well, you've had a race win in 3 different locations so far this season. Is this an opportunity to grab a fourth one? I mean, you've got some quick drivers ahead of you as well. Ronan Doherty's looking to try and make it pretty much a hat trick, but you've also got Oscar Mangan, who won't be starting too far behind you either.
Yeah, it's gonna be because my low grids position in race one, I couldn't get behind them too, so it's practically all up this race to see if I can get in behind them and maybe follow them and battle for the race win.
You managed to keep Roy O'Shea behind you, but Dylan, the shoe's going to be on the other foot heading into the third and final race. What's going to be the tip? How are you going to get past Rory O'Shea in the opening stages?
Hopefully get the quicker reaction time off the first corner and try to get the inside if I'm on the starting on the inside, and pretty much from there I'm gonna have to fly through the grid.
Great stuff. Dylan, we'll leave you to prepare for the third and final race and good luck in it.
All right, cheers.
Thank you, Dylan. And I'll hand it back over to Evan to have a chat with our third and final driver, Rory O'Shea.
Yeah, we'll try to have a very quick chat with Rory before he gets going. Rory, are you happy with the podium in Heat 2?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty delighted. I was expecting to be nowhere near a podium today, so I know some luck went my way, but I'm actually very happy with that, to be honest.
And then looking at heat number 3, then obviously cutting back through the field a little bit. What are you hoping to get in this one?
I think if I can get back on the podium, I'll be happy enough. It's going to be hard to overtake. So I think it's going to have to maybe prey on some more mistakes from the other guys, just like in the last race, and hopefully to make up as many positions as possible.
Rory, we're going to let you go and get ready then for that third heat. Thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we get to talk to you later.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
So, heat number 3 coming up here in RTA's Mustang America's Cup, sponsored by Motorsport.ie. If you're just joining us here for the first time in RTA, folks, remember to pop a subscription on Gantry TV. We do greatly appreciate all your support. Looking at the third heat then, Kieran, I think I have to echo what the drivers are saying. Overtaking looks that little bit difficult.
It does, doesn't it? And well, I was just saying with Dylan McClements, obviously he's someone who's started, or at least when he's finished on the podium, it's only been on the top step so far this season. Today he finished second place. That was the only other spot on a podium he's had this season. The rest have all been wins, which is not a bad stat to have, really, is it?
No, it's certainly not the worst statistic to have. Looking at your grid then, it is Peter McCann who is on pole, Sean McClements in second, Kevin Joyce in third with Evan Walsh in fourth, Brian McManus in fifth, Rory O'Shea in sixth, ahead of Dylan McClements in seventh, Ronan Doherty then starting in eighth. Then it's Jamal Gandor, Oscar Mangan, Tommy Nukran and David Prunty. Looking at that top 12, Kieran, is there anyone other than, let's say, Ronan, Oscar, and maybe Dylan that perked your interest, who you think could get a good result here?
Well, I've been keeping a very quiet eye on Kevin Joyce because he's been slowly making his way up the order and he's gained positions in every single race so far. I mean, he didn't get to set the time in qualifying, and I have a feeling that might be due to track limits. I'm just trying to remember where he started. He started P18 in the very first race, managed to get 8 positions in the first race. Second race, I think he was at 4 positions, if memory serves me well. Yeah, 4 positions in the second race. So he's been climbing up the order very slowly. He's going to start P4. Very interesting to see where he can finish up today, because it's been absolutely on the rise for Kevin Joyce. He hasn't finished higher than 5th so far this season. Could today be the day he betters that?
Yes, it could be. We've seen a lot of sort of maybe breakout performances from drivers who'd be around sort of Kevin Joyce's area. So I wonder, is it Kevin Joyce's time? The track conditions look fairly decent out on circuit. It is not as warm as maybe we've seen at other circuits, so the drivers are going to be extremely thankful for that. But we saw a lot of mistakes in heat number 2, actually, Kieran. I wonder, now that we're adding an extra 5 minutes on, will we get to see a little bit more?
Well, this is the thing. It's such a big circuit. We don't get many laps worth of racing for the time you get to exchange. So, yeah, it could be a case of you just maybe slightly lose that concentration. There are long portions of this circuit where you are full throttle and you don't have to think about the corners too much. Sometimes that can have a little bit of an effect when you get sort of those straights that repeating scenery, if you like. There's not many features apart from trees and grass around here at Road America. There's a big sign going into the carousel, maybe in towards turn 5, but apart from that, it's just the tarmac ahead of you. There's not much to have a look around the rest of the track. That's good because there's nothing to distract you, but also keeping your concentration and your wits about you. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky, but nothing doing here. I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing how our drivers can get on in today's racing. But Peter McCann starting on that reverse grid pole alongside Sean McClements. And well, we've seen Peter McCann. He loves moves down the inside. He loves 3 wide opportunities at some American circuits down in towards turn 1. I'll be hoping it doesn't have to be 3 wide this time around. 4 6th places for Peter McCann so far this season. He's got a real chance of scoring some big points heading into tonight's final race.
I tell you one thing about Road America, their formation laps are notoriously long. I thought we were coming around to start of the race, right? For the carousel. There's another timing mess up for me tonight, but heading down towards the Canada corner, the right-hander. I'm just thinking here, Kieran, I'm not sure whether you'll agree or disagree, but all the major overtaking opportunities seem to be in that first sector rather than the third sector.
Yeah, as soon as you said you were thinking, I thought, uh-oh, this could be dangerous here. But yes, you're right. The heavy braking zones are in the first sectors here. Maybe first, up to turn 8, really. And then you get to the carousel at turn 9, and then it becomes quite a high-speed circuit where there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities available to the drivers. So you're right, you do have to get the moves done, but we've seen in this race, it's not impossible to get moves done through the final sectors up towards the likes of turn 12 at Canada Corner. It's possible, but we're heading through the final corner now for the final race of the evening.
Yes, here we go then. It will be Sean McClements and Peter McCann alongside each other on the front row. McCann going to be in the inside in the red, McClements on the outside in the black and purple. And it's a very quick getaway by Peter McCann as we go racing here at Road America for the final time tonight. Sean McClements got to tuck into the slipstream and potentially get the run down towards turn number 1. But Kevin Joyce has got a good getaway and he's right behind Sean McClements in the Team DDR car. So keep an eye on Kevin Joyce here as he's going to try go for a move down the inside. Late braking by Kevin Joyce. Not late enough though. Sean McClements takes the wider line. He's able to carry more speed. Joyce has got a good run on him now, though, so McClements got to take the inside defensive line. Sean McClements still ahead for the time being. It's O'Shea side by side with McManus. And there you can see Dylan McClements and Ronan Doherty side by side in the background. Oscar Mangan is already ahead of Ronan Doherty. What a crucial start by Oscar Mangan.
Yeah, that was absolutely critical. And have a look at this. Kevin Joyce looking for a move around the outside. It'll have to be going in towards turn 5. But Sean McClements manages to brake later and keep a hold of that second place. Brian McManus putting all sorts of pressure on Rory O'Shea. But in doing so, he's left the door wide open for Dylan McClements on his inside then. Through in towards turn 6 we go. And Dylan McClements has the move done and dusted. Mangan now up into 8th place. Now it's his turn to put the pressure on Brian McManus as we head our way through now on towards turn 8 we go, and back to single file running at least for the top 8 right now, and pretty much for the rest of the field behind. Then Mangan looking and maybe trying to sneak a nose up the inside going through the carousel, thought better of it on that occasion. Mangan knows he's got that 18 minutes left to see how far up the order he can go, but you're right, that crucial move against Ronan Doherty to get himself ahead was very, very important. Doherty, meanwhile, is the car directly behind Mangan now. So Doherty's got the move done to get himself 1 car behind Mangan.
Yeah, usually we'd say that Oscar has plenty of time here, but the only thing is moves aren't a given at Road America, and you got to capitalise on mistakes just like he does now. Oscar Mangan is ahead of Brian McManus. Ronan Doherty now going to look and try dive down the inside of Brian McManus. This is a crucial overtake in towards the final corner. Not one of your traditional overtaking zones, but Ronan Doherty is going to capitalise nonetheless. Oscar's going to give Brian a bit of a slipstream down the straight here in the hopes that he is able to stay ahead of Ronan Doherty as they're going door to door, wheel to wheel, down in towards turn number 1, or up in towards turn number 1, should I say, a very steep incline. As Peter McCann leads us across the line for the first lap. Ronan Doherty still on the inside of Brian McManus. Ronan Doherty is up and ahead now in towards the right-hander. And it looks like Jamal Gandor's looking to get involved in this fight as well, as is Tommy Nukarin. But it's still McCann, McClements, and then Kevin Joyce in third. Top 3 remain the same.
A nice close quarter battling there, that's for sure. Really good to see between McManus and Doherty. Then Doherty just saw that carrot dangling in front of him and knew he had to get the chance, get the opportunity to get the overtake done. Peter McCann still leading them, with Sean McClements in second place. Then it's Kevin Joyce in third, Evan Walsh in fourth, with Rory O'Shea rounding off our top 5. As just in the background there, Oscar Mangan just filling the mirrors there of Dylan McClements, as he hasn't managed to find a way past Rory O'Shea just yet, but now he'll be really under pressure from Oscar Mangan as he makes his way now out of turn 7, down the Hurry Downs, down towards turn 8.
Yeah, look how close this is getting between Dylan and Oscar. And Oscar will have learned now across the 5 rounds that Dylan McClements can beat him or is quicker on his day. So Oscar's got to capitalise soon here. Well, maybe Dylan is struggling with his pace a tad. Not necessarily struggling in terms of dropping seconds per lap, but maybe just Oscar has a tenth of a second or two over him in through towards the kink. 20 minutes, of course, this full heat. We've still got plenty of time to go, so this race is not over, of course, especially given how many mistakes and stuff we've seen tonight from big names such as Oscar Mangan. But Dylan McClements has done a nice job through there, still defending, but he's going to have to take defensive action in towards the first turn, I think.
Yeah, he's got to keep his wits about him. So too has Kevin Joyce. But look at this, up the inside goes Oscar Mangan. Saw the opportunity against Dylan McClements to try and take the move in towards the final corner. But Dylan McClements just has the run there on Oscar Mangan. He's got momentum on his side. And is that a case of Mangan might have to tuck back in? Will he try and look for a move down the inside? Well, whatever the case is, look at this. It's Ronan Doherty trying to take full advantage of the squabbling up ahead. Ronan Doherty now round the outside through in towards the first corner. It's now his turn to try and get ahead of Dylan McClements, which he does. He covers off McClements going down towards turn 3, and look at that great bit of opportunistic driving from Ronan Doherty. Gets himself ahead of both cars there and up into P6. And after all that, Oscar Mangan still cannot find a way past Dylan McClements right now. But the great thing for him is he's got the inside line heading down towards turn 5, with Sean McClements here looking for an outside move on Peter McCann down towards turn 5. Can't quite find the move then. There's Mangan up the inside of Dylan McClements. Finally, he finds his way through for P7. But in all of that, Ronan Doherty has got ahead of Oscar Mangan.
Yes, what a battle between them 3 here in heat number 3. It is Doherty ahead of Mangan, ahead of McClements, Dylan McClements, of course. Sean McClements we saw starting to look for the race lead here in Road America. He's not going to be able to do it in the carousel, surely. It would take a piece of magnificent skill to get past Peter McCann from the position he's in. McCann no slouch around this Road America circuit, of course. Sean knows that. But he got to try take him a move when he can. Peter doing a good job leading this one, and still has a bit of breathing room from, let's say, the traditional front runners behind, because it is Joyce in third, O'Shea in fourth, and then Evan Walsh in fifth. And I'm sure Evan Walsh is going to bolt up the fence gates. He's going to put up a brigade of defending manoeuvres to keep ahead of Ronan Doherty and to keep his, in quotation marks, teammate of Peter McCann in the race lead.
Yeah, you might not be thinking about teammates at this stage of the race. You might be thinking about yourself so far in the first, well, I was just say quarter. We're just over that quarter mark now. Riding on board then with Oscar Mangan, as he's got plenty of tow here from Ronan Doherty up ahead of him. Can he try and find a way past? Well, Ronan Doherty himself has a great bit of tow here from Evan Walsh, but you just see Oscar Mangan just about getting closer and closer, just marginally closer down that start-finish straight. Peter McCann, though, you see, still leading the way, but look at the train of cars that are behind him. Mangan wanted to try and get a move up the inside of Doherty. Doherty saw that one coming, covered the inside line, and then moved back to the racing line. He's seeing what Oscar Mangan is up to here, and Doherty says, I can match it so far. We'll try a little bit of a move down towards turn 5. It does look like Doherty is closing on Evan Walsh then. In fact, he thought about a move down the inside and covers it off. But Mangan then tries to go round the outside, trying to launch it here round the outside at turn 5. Again, he'll be on the outside of turn 6. But look at this, Oscar Mangan, the bit between his teeth. He gets a bit washed under going in towards turn 6 there. That opens the door for Dylan McClements to try and find his way back through. But the door is slammed shut. Dylan McClements running slightly onto the grass and has to try and recover that little bit of momentum there.
Yes, what a scrap Oscar Mangan, Ronan Doherty, and I suppose Dylan McClemens in a way as well, are having here at Road America. Dylan, although unfortunately was given a bit of a shoulder barge from Oscar there and wasn't really able to get a look in. Doherty now able to get past Evan Walsh, who's had a poor run through the carousel, and Oscar Mangan is able to get through as well. Into the kink they go, and Oscar Mangan is right behind Ronan Doherty. This would be extremely brave if he was able to go for the move into Canada corner, and no, he's way too far back to even think of a lunge. Brian McManus gets past Evan Walsh, as does Dylan McClemens. So Evan having some problems down the main straight. You can see he's now under pressure from the finishman of Tommy right behind, as we are just coming towards the halfway point in this heat. Only the halfway point, says you. What a battle it's been.
Oh, it's brilliant, brilliant stuff. More of the same, please. Ronan Doherty then has got Oscar Mangan all over the back of him, but these two are just absolutely charging through the field here. Rory O'Shea, I don't think he's going to put up too much of a fight here. I think he's consigned to that isn't his battle. He's happy to let them through. He's happy not to lose a lot of time. So that is a free position for both Doherty and Oscar Mangan, heading away down in towards turn 1. And perhaps Rory O'Shea thinking, actually, do you know what? It might be better if you two are ahead of me scrapping for position. I'll just use your slipstream, and if you trip over each other, that's 2 positions there, as Evan Walsh is under pressure there from Tommy Nukarainen, then heading our way through in towards turn 3. Nukarainen can't quite find the move that time around. There's your leaders then, McCann from McClements and Joyce.
Yeah, I think Ian May's had a problem at the back. There was a spinner heading through turn number 3, and I think it is Ian May as he goes dropping down the order, but we've got to keep a close eye. This battle for the race lead, and just look how close Sean McClemens is getting in towards the Moraine sweep and up towards turn number 6, the uphill turn number 6 that caused Sean a bit of earlier problems, also caused Oscar Mangan multiple problems in this one. But he was able to survive. The second time round, he was pushed wide through that corner. It's just as we say about turn number 6. It's Brian McManus this time round. I saw the blue car and I thought it had done Oscar dirty once again and got out of Kirsten literally within an instant. But no, thankfully not this time. Evan Walsh now under pressure from Tommy a lot in towards the carousel. The chessboard, or certainly the orange and black chessboard livery of Tommy Nukran right in the rear view mirrors of Tipperary's Evan Walsh.
Yeah, and for Evan Walsh, it's like looking in the rear-view mirror and seeing that danger livery, isn't it? The danger warning in the mirrors right behind. But Peter McCann here, still in the lead of this race, as we are now over the halfway stage of this race, halfway through our allotted time, with McCann still leading ahead of Sean McClements. Kevin Joyce in 3rd place, with Ronan Doherty and Oscar Mangan 4th and 5th, charging their way through the field. Peter McCann then still at the top of that field, heading our way through the final corner. And look at this now. Oscar Mangan just seemed like he got a great run out of the final corner. Can he do anything with it? Right on the back now of Ronan Doherty as we make our way across the start-finish line then. Is there a potential for him to try and move up the inside? Look at this, the quintet. Our lead quintet making our way now down in towards turn 1. And you just saw there the fact that Ronan Doherty felt the need to defend, as battling our way now for 8th place, Evan Walsh and Tommy Nukarainen trying to battle away. It's allowing Jamal Gandor also to join this battle for 8th place right now, heading our way through in towards turn 3. So this trio absolutely battling away tooth and nail, but Kevin Joyce might find himself under a bit more pressure from Ronan Doherty here. Joyce will try and defend the inside line, but there is Doherty. Oh, a late move there from Kevin Joyce, but Ronan Doherty sees the door closing and just no, it's been spun. Oh no, Oscar Mangan tags the back of Kevin Joyce. Kevin Joyce into the wall there, losing a whole bunch of front end there. It was a bit of an awkward mess there because it all started really by Kevin Joyce moving and trying to shut the door on Ronan Doherty there. It just started a bit of a chain reaction.
Yeah, it did, and I think Doherty ran wide through the corner as well, which didn't really help him. He took such a tight angle to hit the apex, of course, trying to go down the inside of Kevin Joyce. We'll try another look at that one later, folks, but for now, poor Kevin Joyce has a lot of front bumper damage and not heading into the pit lane just yet, but he may get the meatball flag and have to pull in nonetheless. He is going to be overtaken here by Jamal Gandor and Tommy Nukarainen as they are heading much quicker than him on the back stretch in towards Canada corner. There goes Gandor and there goes Tommy, and Kevin I think is just going to try and get this one to the pit lane, but it'll be a steward's investigation between Ronan, Oscar and Kevin, but that'll be all for after the race. But things getting heated, things getting dramatic here at Road America. Sean McClellan still knocking on the door, trying to overtake Peter McCann for the race lead. These two, of course, have fought in the past, I should say. Hockenheim, they're both battling for a race lead and both ended up tangling over each other. So it's never truly over in a fight between McCann and McClements.
Absolutely. Well, McCann and McClements also now joining them is Ronan Doherty and Oscar Mangan. Well, with that little bit of battling done and dusted, it's a case now where they're going to feel a little bit more pressure now. The likes of Doherty and Mangan right behind them. Through in towards turn 3 we go. And don't forget about this scrap, Nukkarainen and Gandor. You cannot separate these two. They have found each other at every single point of this race so far, and they've battled each other tooth and nail here as they both now make their way through in towards the moraine sweep and down towards turn 5. That's Nukkarainen on the right-hand side of your picture there. We'll have the inside line heading away down in towards turn 5. Meanwhile then, Peter McCann still leads the way then. Over the crest we go and onwards towards turn 6. And there is Nukkarainen who gets the move down the inside. Jamal Gandor, I thought he might have had a bit of launch out of turn 5 there, but didn't. It's a bit of a... Oh, and that's a moment there for Tommi Nukkarainen. A bit of a snap of oversteer that he had to gather up, and that sent him wide and onto the grass. And Jamal Gandor says, thank you very much. I'll take P8 from you then.
Yeah, good save actually there from Tommy, I thought, across the grass. He got it back on the asphalt fairly quickly as Peter McCann just run a tad bit wide. Seems to go for the exit over the entry, which has worked well so far, as it looks like Oscar Mangan might be trying to attack Ronan Doherty here. McClemens and McCann will be hoping that 3rd and 4th go battling, because that'll give them a bit of breathing room once again from two of the front runners here in the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup Championship battle. 14 minutes down, not long left to go here in the main race of the evening, the reverse grid, heat number 3. It's still the front row from that reverse grid who are in 1st and 2nd, which doesn't often last in RTA, but will their positions change very soonly. McCann ran a little bit wide through 13. McClemens looking to try and get the run, as here they go, slipstreaming up the hill. Sean McClemens going for the lead of this race. Ronan Doherty might even look to get involved as well, but it is going to be Sean McClemens on the outside, Peter McCann on the inside, in towards the first corner here at Road America, which we've discovered tonight is not that awfully wide and is very difficult to go battling in. But McClemens is going to try swing it round the outside. That's a fantastic move by Sean McClemens, but Ronan Doherty's looking to get involved as well. Down the inside goes Doherty. He's up and ahead of Peter McCann. Can Championship leader Oscar Mangan maybe dispatch McCann as well? McCann potentially going to lose 3 positions in the same amount of corners here with 15 minutes on the clock. McClemens in the lead, has a nice healthy margin over Doherty. How long that will last, we're not sure. Is Oscar Mangan able to make the move for 3rd? Peter McCann defending. To the inside goes Oscar Mangan. It's a big lunge, has to be careful not to hit Doherty. It's a similar move that Doherty went for on the last lap on Joyce, but there's no joy for Mangan. McClemens leads, however.
Yeah, Sean McClemens really got now up ahead and will try and run away, but how far ahead could you run away from Ronan Doherty? It looks like it's not that far up the road. And look at this, Oscar Mangan just all over the back of Peter McCann. Looks to move down the inside in towards turn 8 there. Can he get the power down? Peter McCann will try and hang it on the inside there through the carousel. I think Mangan has the racing line, and he does. Oscar Mangan moves himself now up into 3rd place with Peter McCann down to 4th place. Now Peter McCann's sights will be set on a best finish of the season so far. He's had 4 6th places so far this season. This will still be a personal best for him, as that's Dylan McClements running very wide on the grass there. There's his brother Sean McClements leading the way, but Ronan Doherty chasing him all the way down, then down in towards turn 12 we go here. Oh no, it's a spin! Ronan Doherty's around, right in the middle of the track there where cars have to avoid. I think Mangan, McClements, Rory O'Shea all made their way through. I think O'Shea had to go right there. No, Peter McCann's been caught up in it. Did he hit the wall on the right-hand side trying to avoid that one? Yes, he has. He's hit the wall big time there. Big suspension damage for Peter McCann.
Ronan Doherty went for the move into Canada corner and wasn't able to get out of it in one piece at least. Oscar Mangan had the spin in the 2nd heat. Doherty now the man to make the mistake now, and was that gap closing? The stewards will certainly have a look at it. Doherty tried to do everything possible to keep his car under control. McCann went off into the tyre wall, and 2 of the drivers fighting for this win have now bowed out of it. It's McClemens still in the lead of the race, ahead of Oscar Mangan in 2nd. Dylan McClemens now onto the podium in 3rd. But that is a dramatic moment here at Road America.
Yeah, isn't it just? And we heard from Ronan Doherty. Didn't he say in his interview he wasn't going to make any bold moves down the inside of anybody? But there we
Yeah, he
go.
did.
He certainly changed his tune very quickly there. Nevertheless, though, Sean McClements leading the way then from Oscar Mangan in second place, and then Dylan McClements in third. This is a big opportunity now for Rory O'Shea to see if he can get himself onto the podium in these last few minutes of the race. And we don't have long at all now. We're about just over 2 minutes left, so this will pretty much be the penultimate lap of this race. Ronan Doherty, I'm just hearing in our ear from Ronan Hederman that he has retired from this race. Peter McCann also in the pits as well, of course, with that big damage. And you feel sorry for Peter McCann there, absolutely innocent bystander really, but got clipped, and there was only unfortunately one destination he had, and that was straight to the pretty much one of the only bits of tyre barrier you have here at Road America.
Yeah, utterly disappointing for Peter McCann. Thanks, Kieran, for clarifying the laps left, by the way. Really appreciate
That's
that.
okay, no problem.
But yeah, horrid stuff for Peter McCann. Very disappointing as well, because he was on for a good result, whether that be first or fourth. He was on for a very good result. And now battle shall recommence with the top three. Sean McClements in the lead, Oscar Mangan in second, Dylan McClements in third. Fair play to Oscar as well. He's up 8 spots to second. Remember, of course, he wasn't on the reverse grid, started off it, but has still gained a nice couple of spots. Now, admittedly, Peter and Ronan both going off and out of this race has helped him, but still would be 6 gains position rather than 8, even if he didn't want to take them. The white flag is raised. McClements heading in towards the first corner.
Yeah, Sean McClements, by the way, 2 podiums, both from second places so far this season. This is his chance, and he's only got 4 miles left to grab his first race win of the season. The only problem is he's got Oscar Mangan within a second of him on this final lap. But as we discussed, many of the overtaking opportunities are in the first few corners, up until turn 6 really. Maybe down towards turn 8 is maybe your last heavy braking zone of the lap. If Sean McClements can stay ahead until then, he's got a big opportunity to hold on to what will be a first race win of the season.
It's nervy territory for the top 3 now, but we look a little bit back off it. Sean McGoldrick fighting here with John McDonald, sorry, I should say. Here is Sean McGoldrick trying to fish it round the outside. McDonald gives them the squeeze, and off the circuit goes Sean McGoldrick. And John McDonald now John McDonald stays in front. Sean McGoldrick now is going to be tough for him to maybe get in front, in towards the carousel. This is probably Oscar Mangan's best lap around Road America. He's clawing in the race leader, but Sean knows he's just got to get the rest of the lap right, because there's not an awful lot of overtaking zones remaining in this final sector. And Mangan through the kink. We're on board with the championship leader now. Is he able to take a win tonight and snatch the moment of glory from Sean McClements' hands? Canada corner for the final time. Sean so early on the brakes, just making sure he gets it right through the right-hander. Oscar Mangan, look how close he is. It might be a dive into the final corner potentially. The number 18 is right on the tail of Sean McClements, and Oscar Mangan goes for it down the inside. McClements, does he have enough speed to get out of the corner? It's going to be a drag race to the line between Sean McClements and Oscar Mangan. McClements Mangan sort of going for it around the outside here, trying everything to take the race win across the line. Who's going to take it? It's Sean McClements. Usually in RTA we get more Dylan McClements, but it's Sean's turn in the limelight. The bad luck has ended. He has won in Road America.
Fantastic way to end a race there. You could see Oscar Mangan really go for it in the final few stages there. As you say, I think that was probably one of his best laps of the race so far. I mean, he was 1.2 seconds 8/10 of a second quicker on that final lap than Sean McClements. He threw everything and the kitchen sink there, did Oscar Mangan. Sean McClements, though, will be glad the race ended when it did. A first race win of the season for Sean McClements. Congratulations, Sean. Enjoy it. That was a very well-earned victory there.
Can I finally stop being blamed for Sean's bad luck now? Because
Nope.
I'm here this week.
Nope, that's the law.
Ronan Hederman has just said no in my ear. Right, this is fantastic. Coming through the final corners now is Peter McCann, who unfortunately comes home way lower than he would have liked to be behind Ian May. Ronan Doherty rounding us out as well after getting his car repaired. Disappointing end for Ronan, but was still really quick this week, so has to take the positives, I think, into next week's race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's fair to say that not many drivers had a huge haul of points this race. A lot happened. A lot of our championship protagonists were affected at some point here tonight. So it's going to be a pretty shared points experience for all involved. But for Sean McClement, a day in the sunshine for Sean as he takes his first victory of the season.
Yep, Sean McClemens comes home in first, Oscar Mangan in second, Dylan McClemens in third, Rory O'Shea in fourth, Evan Walsh in fifth, Jamal Gandor in sixth. Then in seventh place, it was Tommy Nukaran, Brian McManus in eighth, Sean McGoldrick in ninth, and John McDonald then takes 10th position, a solid top 10 for John.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in 11th place there, it's Kevin Joyce falling down the order after that collision. Colin Carrigan in 12th place. Simon Hutchings in 13th with Philip Upson in 14th. Gary Corcoran in 15th. Ian May in 16th place. Peter McCann falling down the order there. Sorry, in 16th place, Peter McCann. Then 17th place is Ronan Doherty. 18th place is Ian May. 19th place there is David Prunty. And 20th place there is Rich Murphy. And then just in 21st place, that is Aaron Dalton. So that's how it all wrapped up towards the end there. And, well, we were saying that, that first race, it was all measured. And it just seemed to absolutely get not out of control, but the drama really started to fly in race 2.
It certainly did, but let's cut to an interview with the top 3 quickly. And for the first time this season, I'm interviewing them anyways. I think Kieran interviewed Sean earlier this season. But Sean McClemens, spin in heat number 1, it looked like this was going to be one of your traditional race evenings, but you have just won your first race of the season. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels great. Nice to meet you, Evan. Haven't met you in a long time, to be fair, in the commentary booth, but that's a story for another
No,
day.
you've never met me in the commentary booth.
But no, it feels good. I do have to thank Jordan Kelly. He got me a Donegal top, and because he wasn't here, I thought I'd wear the Donegal top, and it made me, in my head, it would make me drive like Jordan Kelly. Maybe not all there, like, it got me a win, so fair play, Jordan.
In terms of tonight's action then, of course, we do still have to oblige and ask you about the incident with Ronan Doherty. Ronan went down the inside and then unfortunately spun. Do you just think that was him being a little bit over-optimistic?
I don't know. I need to watch it back now, to be fair. I think it could be a wee bit 50-50. The gap was sort of last second lunge, and then I sort of turned in. I'm like not expecting it. I think there could be a wee bit on me now, to be fair. It could be a wee bit on opportunity. I need to watch it back in better detail now.
It hasn't been reported yet by Ronan, so that's one positive thing to take, I suppose. Just after this race week then, can I stop being blamed now for your bad luck? Kieran and Ronan said no, but I'm hoping you can say something different.
No, I think I actually just got a podium and won because Kieran's here, so Kieran,
That's
you're
true.
welcome more often.
Thank you very much, Sean. Love the support.
Yeah, anyways, thanks, Sean. Appreciate that interview. We're going to move on. No, wait, congratulations, Sean. Great to see you up here, taking a race win and taking a podium after Evan Dalton used your sim rig. So we all know the reasons for your win. Thank you, Sean. And we do hope to speak to you next week.
Perfect. Hopefully I'll be back, lads. Take care, lads.
We're going to move on now to second place, Oscar Mangan with Kieran.
Thank you very much, Evan. Oscar, second place in that final race there, but you made it very, very close between yourself and Sean McClemens. I mean, you were 8/10 quicker than him on the final lap alone. You talk about lap of the gods. That was impressive, and you just needed that one more lap.
Yeah, I think one more would have had him. Just the gap was I think it was just too big crossing the final lap, and I tried my best in the last corner, but he was able to hold his own and got the run up the straight, and that was that.
Yeah, you had it all to do in the final race because of what happened in your battle for the lead up at turn 6 in race number 2. Can you talk us through what happened?
Yeah, I just dropped it basically. I was talking to Ronan after it, and he was saying he was nearly having the same in the first race, so just crossed it up a little bit. It's pretty loose up there as the rear of the car goes light over the crest, and just went around and the TC kicks in, and that's it. So just unlucky. It's another kind of mistake I shouldn't be making, but at least we were able to come back in the third one.
So far this season, though, Oscar, you've only finished off the podium 3 times, one of them occurring tonight. I mean, this is some really good, consistent form. Is this sort of a strategy of your own? Do you go into every race thinking, I have to win? Or are you looking for a points matter most scenario, especially when everyone around you is struggling for points as well?
Yeah, I think that tends to happen in most kind of championships I do. I might win once or twice in a pretty long season, but I just kind of seem to just choose to stay out of trouble instead of risking it all for the win. So I guess I subconsciously do it now. Like tonight with Sean, I thought I might have a chance, but yeah, there's been other times so far where I've seen Jordan or Ronan have had issues, and I'm just so whoever's leading is further down. So I kind of just choose to hold off or not take as much of a risk and just kind of take the points if possible.
Well, I will say congratulations. What I think is your 12th podium of the season so far. I'm sure, Oscar, our paths will cross again here at RTA. And I just want to say congratulations on the points and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, Oscar. And I'll hand it back now to Evan to have a chat then to our 3rd place driver in that hectic race of Dylan McClements.
Dylan, congratulations. Second podium of tonight. It was a bit of a messy race in that last one, but you managed to survive the chaos and take a podium. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, very happy. I got through the grid quite quickly and, keep up with that top pack and, stay clear of incidents and got that podium.
Overall, then, this does help you in the championship a little bit. Are you still thinking about a championship endeavour or just taking it week by week?
Yeah, still thinking of a championship. I'll have to not be qualifying 7th from all that. I got a couple unlucky moments in qualifying, but if I'm gonna be battling for the championship, it should be higher, and I should be able to grab more points.
Is qualifying the one thing you want to improve on then going into the second half of the season, or just everything sort of overall?
I mean, qualifying is a big bet for the race, especially around circuits like these. There's only a couple passing spots. See, I kind of messed up in qualifying and got unlucky with people blocking me, but still got a half decent grid spot and, kept my head down and made some good points for the championship.
Well, Dylan, congratulations on the second podium tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to talk to you again next week.
Right, see it.
And now, of course, the difficult job, and I'm so glad I have someone else here to discuss it with me. Driver of the day, Kieran, is there anyone you're thinking?
Oh, do you know what? This is probably the most difficult driver of the day I think we've ever had, and I think we say that every single time we're here. Nevertheless,
I do agree with you this time. This is quite tough.
This is going to be tough because my front running was Kevin Joyce, because he's had a fantastic first 2 races, really putting in some good, fantastic job there. And he was battling for the lead of this race in the final stages, in the final race. And it all went wrong at the halfway point, unfortunately, for Kevin Joyce. He would have been right up there. Even if he finished off the podium there, he would have been straight into my Driver of the Day nomination. And unfortunately, that crash has just undone some of that really good work. And it was really unfortunate to see. It's almost like your heart sank because you just think there was the potential Driver of the Day. So you have to look now elsewhere, up and down the field, who put on some great performances. Well, have to say, Jamal Gandor and Tommy Nukarainen, they put on a brilliant battle wherever they were on the circuit. They just seemed to be glued together. There was door-to-door between them, but a great amount of respect. And I'm sure if we watch that back from Jamal's view, we'll get a great view of that action. They stuck together on this circuit. You always have to give a shout out to some great battling on circuit. These two, you just couldn't separate them. So it was a brilliant job from those two. And of course, you do have to talk about Sean McClements, because a driver who's got his first race win of the season. I mean, he qualified with a good amount of pace on him as well. So it's not like this was unexpected. He qualified 4th. So, and had not a great first race. He fell 9 positions in the first race, but he fought his way back up the field to then take the victory by mere hundredths of a second on the final lap as Oscar Mangan was trying to close him down. I mean, those are a couple that I'm thinking of, but I genuinely, Evan, I cannot pick the absolute front runner at this stage. We might have to draft in Ronan Hederman as well to help us decide.
this reeks of a coin toss once again.
Well, the
But I
problem
don't think I
is
have my wallet handy to do it, or
No,
a
but
coin of some sort. But
it reeks of a coin toss, but we have to actually decide on two to pick from
yeah, we do.
to
We
get a
do.
coin toss.
Kevin Joyce, I agree with you, would 100% been my pick until that moment,
Mm.
which
I-
is utterly disappointing. I think I
I
heard
am-
Ronan say it as well, and I think I agree. I think we got to give it to Sean for his first win.
Yeah, I think so.
After such
Yeah.
a long time to get back onto the podium, in terms of this season and in terms of overall, I think we'll give it to Sean.
Agreed.
Or at least that's my pick.
Yeah, no, agree. It's already on the board without me saying. So there you go. Driver of the
okay.
day.
There we
I
go.
agree.
So Sean McClemen's driver of the day after another thoroughly entertaining evening here in Ireland's premier sim racing series. Next week we will head to the Mid-Ohio Sports Course, which is another very tight circuit, another circuit known for its IndyCar racing. And trust me, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what RTA can provide around Mid-Ohio, because we haven't raced there in a long, long time, and it is a really unusual circuit, which doesn't commonly host GT3 racing. So I think next week, Kieran, is another one to tune in for.
Oh, fantastic. A circuit that doesn't really hold GT3 racing, and we put the Mustangs out there. Oh, goody. Yep. Make sure you tune in next week. I think you're not going to want to miss that one either.
Yes, every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Especially next week, you can find us here on Gantry TV, folks. Once again, we'd like to give a big shout out to our title sponsors, Motorsport.ie, sponsoring the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup, providing a trophy to our feature race winner, and they were at Mondello Park at the weekend in front of Rob Parks' car, I believe. So fantastic looking trophies, and a big thanks to Leo and the crew and Motorsport.ie for getting them sorted out. Make sure you do check out RTA Virtual Motorsport as well, folks. If you want to race yourself, the Formula V season is open for sign-ups at rtavirtualmotorsport.com. And of course, subscribe to us here on Gantry TV if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. But for myself, Kieran and Ronan, thank you very much for joining us. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Slán go fóill.